Snow White was directed by Marc Webb and stars Rachel Zegler, Gal Gadot, and Andrew Burnap, and is a modern retelling of the oldest Disney animated film. The opening moments are narrated to us and show us a young Snow White being raised by her parents to be caring and accepting of everyone. When her mother passes away from a disease, her father remarries to Gal Gadot. The new queen is materialistic, crude, and only cares about her being the fairest in the land. When Snow White's father heads off to defend his kingdom, he is not seen again and is presumed dead. The evil queen takes control of the kingdom and regales Snow White to a commoner. When the magic mirror informs our queen that she is no longer the fairest of the land, she tries to stop at nothing but killing the beautiful Snow White. On the positive side, everyone is great with their singing, especially Rachel Zegler. There are a number of new songs in this version, and they're staged well, choreographed nicely, and sung with a prestigious amount of beauty. I like the huntsman this time around. He's fleshed out slightly more than he was in the original movie, though he's not in the movie that much. When we meet the dwarves, they have made the Hi-Ho song significantly longer, including a minecart ride, and it all has a nice flow to it, even if it is CGI. I also like how over-the-top Gal Gadot is as the queen. It's incompatible with the tone of the story, but for people who like their Disney villainesses to be hammy and ridiculous, this queen gives you that. I like the song she sings in this movie, even if it's for the wrong reasons. It might be the standout in the film for me personally. Gal Gadot aimed for a campy performance here, and I enjoyed that for at least some kind of weird entertainment and odd levity. I also liked the first 30 minutes a pretty good deal, and thought that maybe they would get this right. The issues for me, though, begin right with the main character. Rachel Zegler isn't bad in the film, but she has a one-note performance. She doesn't have any sunniness in her face or innocence in her eyes to make me care about her plight. She's a good singer, but it looks like she is merely singing and not putting any passion into it. I know that she is the least popular person in Hollywood in a good while, but I don't care about any of that. When she is supposed to be the lead we need to follow for 1 hour and 45 minutes, and I don't see any charm in her, nor things that make her character special, and everyone just seems to love her by default, I don't believe it. Why is this woman special? Because she gave a common person a head wreath when she was a child? If that's what the film is hanging its hat on, then it failed to convince me that she is a person that everyone needs to love and get behind. I did like the introduction of the dwarves, but once they are occupying the same space as the real people, it begins to look uncanny and a little weird. The song that Snow White sang in the original with the animals while cleaning the dwarves' house has been moved to a lesson song about valuing each other's teamwork and friendship, even if you drive each other crazy. I'm not opposed to the rearrangement of the source material, but by doing it the way they do in this movie, it eliminates the individuality of the dwarves for me. Doc no longer has the trait of his words being flipped when he speaks before he corrects himself. And with the exception of Grumpy and Dopey, who has easily the best arc in this version, the rest of the dwarfs blend into the background and just seem to disappear out in the open to where you know that they are there, but they don't have the spotlight they used to have. Instead, this version introduces a group of bandits who are loyal to Snow White's father, and one of them is our love interest. And to me, there is no chemistry between Rachel Zegler and Andrew Burnap. Burnap is likable when he is away from Snow White, but when they are together, I felt no sparks. And when we get to the true love kiss part of the story, I couldn't help but wonder what he saw in her, having known her for like 2 days. The two lovebirds have a song together called Princess Problems, which is probably the best new song in this movie. But it caps off the first half of what was an acceptable film and then introduces a bunch of new characters who have relationships and issues, but they feel like they were transported from a different movie. And this is where this version starts to lose itself. The two halves are incompatible, and I think the story becomes way too complicated for what should be a pretty simple story. I don't mind them changing Snow White's motivation of someday my prince will come to I need to save my kingdom, but when I saw a chase scene and a fight scene followed by a dancing scene, I asked myself if I was watching Snow White or some kind of bootleg version of Robin Hood. I like almost all the supporting characters, but only when they are away from each other. When they are together, it looks like people reciting lines with no passion or charm. This version of Snow White isn't as bad as the internet thought it was going to be, or maybe even hoped that it would be, but that doesn't make it good either. The apple scene felt like it was inserted because it had to be there, not for any organic reason, and the way the story resolves itself was plain strange. It teases some sort of epic battle, but it ends with a basic conversation. That's the summary of Snow White for me. It's two stories trying to coexist together, and since neither of them are allowed to excel, it becomes that neither are compelling when they are meshed the way they are. I saw the film with a group of kids, and they laughed a few times in the beginning, but then nothing but silence for the preceding hour plus, which isn't really a good sign to me. I usually don't like to read the audiences, but if you're an adult like me who was having a hard time remembering who all the characters were, I could not imagine how confused a child may be trying to pay attention to everyone in this movie. I can't can't recommend this movie for a theater watch, but it might be worth a stream when it comes out if you have nothing better to do on a Saturday evening and need the kids to fall asleep. I give Snow White 2025 2.5 stars out of 4. It's not a trash fire, but it is middling, which is the last thing I think this movie needed to be. I say just watch the original. Okay, so Snow White, what did you think of this movie? Please let me know. Even though I didn't like it very much, I personally liked it more than the live-action Lion King and live-action Aladdin remakes. So take from that what you will. Anyway, if you like this, please like and subscribe. Follow me on social media if you like. And until next time, I am Ghost.